I don't know if it was, I don't know.
Well, the last time I saw it, it had 85, I think, was it 85 views or something?
It had a few views. People were watching it, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
You know, I can't get past how when we were talking with Devon, he was like, yeah, man, I actually saved that client. I was like, wow, that was pretty impressive.
Nice.
Yeah, you were at that meeting when we were talking to him the first time, and
yeah,
you weren't at the next one. He was like, he actually went back to that client based on what we said. They closed the deal. But he never came back and told us if he got that check. I think because he got scared. We told him he was going to have to send
no,
us
because I'm waiting
champagne.
on my mimosas.
Yeah. So I think that's what happened. He probably got that money and just disconnected from all social media. Can't reach the guy now that he got his little money.
He out there spending. He better be putting some back into marketing.
You know what I'm saying? My goodness. Well, what can you do? So anyway, since we have a new guest with us, welcome Monti Spann, Mr. Spann, sir. When we bring somebody on new, we always ask them to tell us who they are, what they do, and that way we can learn a little bit about them and their business.
Hi, my name is Freddie Monti Spann. I'm still a 9-to-5er. I do telecommunications, cable repair, low voltage cabling for independent contractors and big Fortune 500 companies. And on the side, I'm a DJ in event planning, music production, and I've been doing it for over 10 years. But recently, I just restructured properly, starting my own LLC, just to take advantage of the perks and doing it the right way per se. Business been good the past 2-3 years for me. It's been doing better than my 9-to-5 has been doing for me. So I'm just trying to do it the right way per se.
Nice. Very nice.
So I'm still learning.
Do you see yourself doing that full time and dropping your regular gig?
Yes.
That's exciting.
Are you doing any Zoom parties right now?
I'm doing about 4 or 5 a weekend.
Really?
So I thought COVID was going to slow down. A lot of weddings been canceled. A lot of graduation parties been transferred over to Zoom. So it's a nice little restructuring process that I got going on. And I didn't expect it to be this well, but it's working out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. We went to a Zoom party with the DJ 2 weeks ago. It was so nice. And I have like disco lights. I went and got my disco lights and had that going. And
that's
nice.
Pretty impressive. I
did not expect that. I'll invite you to one.
Yeah, invite me to one. My wife actually did her nephew. My wife sings. She's really good. And her nephew is really good. And they did he put a concert together. Yeah. With singers, and she was one of the singers. Nice. And they had musicians. I'm like, this stuff is pretty impressive. You know,
it really is. Because that same Zoom party I was telling you about, it was a concert. One of our friends who, he's a singer, and he was doing a show. And so it started out, the first half hour of the show was a DJ, just to get everybody ready, playing old school music and everything. And then they switched over to the concert.
Nice. Yeah. Before we get lost, why don't we just introduce everybody else, just so in case somebody's watching and they need to buy a house,
right.
They know who to call.
That'll be my cue. So, Marini from the Welcome Home team at Remax Real Estate Limited, and it's a little bit of a crazy time for people who are looking to buy a house. I was just on a webinar prior to this looking at the numbers, the demand from people in more densely populated places coming to the suburbs. So it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time for us. Yeah. Nice. And I got a question for Monty before it intrigues me, Monty. So
before you cede the floor.
Before I cede the floor. So my experience over the past couple of months is that there are people who are pivoting to meet the demands of the day, which, changes happen daily, I feel, to me, at least in my business. But there are people who are, adapting as we go. And it sounds like that's exactly what's happening to you or what you're embracing is, pivoting with the changes.
Yeah. One person told me adapt or sink, and I just took that philosophy in. And so many people in the field of like entertainment and DJs per se, they're not taking advantage of this opportunity. I didn't expect this to happen, but I looked at it like, hey, it's an opportunity. I can reach audiences from my living room, marketing. Hey, I'm having a Zoom party. Do you mind doing it? Hey, I'll do it for 250 people. Out of those 250 people that attended, 5 will call me, hey, I want to do something on a smaller scale for the people in my area. My nephew's graduating. He didn't have a prom or he didn't have a graduation party. Can we book you? And I'm like, sure. Like, so it's not what it once was. It's not the same experience. I'm just adapting to it, and things are changing by the day, and I'm just getting used to it. So.
Cool. All right, I will now cede the floor.
Before we cede the floor, I'm going to just say this one thing. You sound like you have the makings of a real successful entrepreneur.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just going to say
I have
that.
a lot to learn.
Hey, we all do. I'm still learning, and I'm trying to coach, so that's the way it goes. We learn and we pass it on. That's how it works. So we're going to cede the floor to Fluid Financial Group.
Yes. I'm Colette Taylor, Colette Ramsey Taylor. It depends on how I feel that day.
Wow.
But I help women to build wealth and keep their wealth by learning what's the strategies that they need so that they can plan for their retirement. So that's really what I do in a nutshell, but I try to really educate women because there's so many things that they don't realize. And if I can catch them early, it's better because they have more time to plan for retirement. So that's what I do. Try to help them to really think about what they're doing and how they need to save for retirement. Very,
very nice. I like that we all have something that we do that's different as far as like our expertise, because it makes everything we talk about come from different perspectives. And that's what I kind of love about this little group that we have. I wanted to take a couple of minutes just briefly and tell you that we are live. And so, especially since Monty's here and he's got this big Facebook following, we're going to have like 18 billion people following us, right? Because you do virtual parties. Nah, but that's cool. I just want to say, like, when it comes to the DJ thing, I think what's really cool about that, I mean, you would think that with COVID, DJs would be broke. In fact, I was watching something, I forgot what, I was listening to the radio, and they were talking about starting a fund for DJs because obviously they can't do parties and they, donate to your DJ. And I was like, really? Wow, that's pretty tough. Now we have somebody who's a DJ who's doing it part-time and he's busier than ever. I just think it's like a testimony to what you said when you started, Monty. You said adapt or die, something like that?
Adapt or sink or drown.
Okay, yeah. And it's so true, right? Yeah. And it's so true. I'm looking at this COVID period. I went to get lunch, and I go, when I'm lazy, I just walk down to the corner. And in my area, we have this restaurant. It's called Brownstone. Maria, you know the Brownstone?
In Patterson?
In Inglewood Cliffs.
Oh, sorry. No,
okay. There's a Brownstone pancake factory.
The pancake place.
Yeah. So they have lunches and everything. So they're in Inglewood. They had a spot in Edgewater for years, and then they have one in Inglewood Cliffs. So COVID hits, right? All these restaurants are shut down and everything, and they were too. Then they said, okay, you can have takeout. So they opened back up. So I drive by this place every day, and because it's right in walking distance, I'll just walk over there to get my food. So then they said outdoor dining is acceptable. And they had a couple of tables out in the front on the little lawn because they have a little bit of a space. Like, man, that's pretty cool. They're adapting. I went to get my lunch today. They have tables all over it was like 100 people out there.
Wow.
Not only that, but in the parking lot, they have cones. So people are pulling up to the parking lot and parking the car, and the waiter comes to them and they put a tray on their car and they're serving them.
Like car hop style.
Yeah, cool.
They are more busy. When I went there, they were running like crazy. The restaurant inside is empty, but the outside is full. You're talking about adaptability. You know, when we are able to eat inside, do you think they're going to say, well, we're not going to put trays and tables on the outside anymore?
No, they're probably going to keep those.
They figured out how to double their
right.
income. So even in challenging times, you can figure out how to make money and sometimes do even better. So I thought that was just really cool. And I love your statement because that's exactly what it takes to succeed in business. Now, some restaurants are going under. We see it all the time. It's all over the news, right? Oh, this one went under, this one went under. Well, that's just because there's a level of adaptability that you might be missing. Mm-hmm. So I just really like that story, Monty. One day, I'm going to have you on my podcast telling me about how you did it. I know before all the stuff, you be traveling all over the country. If I'm not mistaken, you go to Texas a lot.
Yeah.
To do. That's what I heard. Am I wrong?
No, correct. Texas, Florida, a few other places can come to mind. DC. Okay. I'm trying to be modest.
Okay. I know you're good. I know you're a good DJ because you DJ'd a friend of mine's wedding.
Oh yeah.
Maya.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. So before we get all into the meat, you know, usually what we do is we try to make these things a bit thematic. That way we can have something that at least to sink our teeth in. And there was a statement that I found that I thought is really nice, and I want to get your thoughts on it. It's called, I have to read it because I never remember anything. It's called, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." What do you think about that? That's Sir Winston Churchill. Mm-hmm. I done went British. So when I thought about, whenever I read these quotes, I think about how it applies to my business, right? And that's kind of what these thoughts are all about. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. Anybody want to comment? How do you apply it to your business?
Yeah, I actually like that because as far as success, you know, to me, success is relative. It could be I was successful in this particular part of my business or with, you know, one venture or another. And it's not final because you got to get to that next level again. You got to get to the next level of success. And so when I look at the different parts of, you know, setting up a business and just being able to thrive, you know, you meet so many successes along the way, whether it's getting that paperwork done, making that business legitimate, doing your LLC, that's a success because there's a lot of people out there who are running businesses and they're not really doing what they're supposed to do. And even the ones of us who are doing what we're supposed to do, we're legal and everything, there's things that we can do and we have to give focus at some point to it. And when we do, then we meet that level of success there too. As far as failure, it's not being fatal because it really does teach you a lesson for the next time. You know, once you failed at something, you're like, okay, I'm not going to do that again, or I'm going to make improvement on how I did that. And so, you know, it really is a great quote, you know, to think about when you think about how you're going about any part of your life, really.
Cool. I wholeheartly agree with Colette. It's, you know, with success in one area, there are so many areas. And I thought of one quote, I don't know where I picked it up, but when your business increases by 40%, your infrastructure is shot. And you rebuild that. And I don't know why I retain that, but as you attain success, you've got to take a step back and rebuild. And so it's not final. You can't maintain, as you grow, you can't maintain with the same systems and the same procedures that you had earlier. And you need to rebuild. So it's never ever final. And the failure part, I tell myself you need to fail faster. Like there's nothing wrong with failing. It's if you try to learn how to ski, right? The first time you get on skis, you fall down, you're on the bunny hill, you know, you're awkward as hell. And then you got you understand what I'm saying, right? You have to fail in order to improve. So when I blow something, I absolutely want to learn from it, Colette. Like, where's the lesson here? How do I do that right? Or how do I do it better? But let me fail faster. Don't let me take my time about it. But let me
prolongs everything.
Get up.
Yeah, don't drag it out.
Right.
Keep going. Yeah.
Make me think of when my mom was, wait till your father get home. Mom, just beat me now, please.
Right.
I don't want to have to wait all day.
Right.
Make it happen quick. So, yeah, I like that. I thought about that when I said, like, success is not final. You know, there's never a time, and I've been in business now for almost 20 years, where I've said, I've made it. Because I think if you ever say, I've made it, then you start slowing down, like you said, and you don't ever, you know, and then you can fall into that trap of complacency.
Not only that, but things like the pandemic happens, and now you have to adapt.
Yeah. Did you really make it?
Yeah.
Did you really make it? You know,
right.
So it's never final. It's always this evolution. And I'm going to look for that quote, Maria, that you found about the 40% growth, because it does make a lot of sense. But it makes a lot of sense. You know, when I started out and I was doing taxes, you know, I had 20 to do, and I knocked them out, and I thought I was knocking out the park. And then when I got to 40, I was like, what in the world am I doing wrong? What happened? Everything. And you start adapting, right? And now, you know, the amount that I'm doing, I'm still crying like a baby because I don't want to work anymore. I want to, but I'm trying to figure out the right way to do it where it doesn't become overwhelming. So success is definitely not final. And I can tell you tons of stories about failure, because I have screwed up some things. And even in this business, I've made some mistakes that I'm like, oh my God. It was one time, I'm not going to tell all the details, but I was going over something and my heart started palpitating. I thought I was going to pass out. It was something I did. I'm serious. I was sitting right at this desk, and when I was typing the numbers, and that can't be right. And I looked at the numbers and I said, that can't be. And then my heart started. I thought I was going to pass out at the desk. I was like, okay, this might be the big one. You know, the big one. That was years ago, actually. Still around. Still in business. Still have the same client, and they're still grateful. So, you know, success, you know, failure is not fatal. I guess unless you let it be. I guess that's the part about having the courage to continue that counts. Because you can mess up and say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I think people do that a lot in business. They try something, they make a mistake, even if maybe it costs them a little money. Say, you know, I'm not. It's just easier to get a 9 to 5. I'm giving up, right?
Mark, I think a lot of that is going on right now. I mean, some of the businesses. The example, there was a deli, like a high-end Italian deli near us, and it was expensive. But anytime you went in there, like anything you got was terrific, right? They were on the limping along for a while and closed their doors during this. So it wasn't the pandemic that killed them. It was kind of all right, I'm done now, like a final straw. Like, just, I'm not going to adapt. I've been kidding myself, kind of a thing. But I think a lot of the businesses that are closing their doors now, that's what's happening. I
completely agree. They don't have that courage to continue, right? They're saying, you know what, this is hard. You know, this is hard. I have run into a few business owners like that too, where I'm advising them, and I'm like, you know, God, you've had a profitable business for the last 5 years. You know, you've got a bump in the road for a few months. I can't do this anymore. It was too stressful. Okay. You know, so to be successful, you definitely have to have the courage to continue, because you will have bumps in the road, right? It's not always going to be easy. Even when you are making money, even when you have your employees, you will have bumps in the road. So you have to have that courage to continue. Tony G is giving us the mobile view. Hey, brother, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good.
Sorry,
what town
I'm
are
late.
you in?
Right now, I'm in Secaucus.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was planning to go to Sam's Club or Walmart, but there's about 150 people online outside.
Are you serious?
Oh man.
Okay.
Going somewhere else.
So you know what that means? If you have not gotten your meat for this weekend, you do. Oh, yes. So my younger brother, I'm surprised he's not on. He's probably fell asleep. He ordered his meat from a butcher, and they delivered it to the house.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll see how that works out for us. I expect to eat quite well. So, I'm excited to eat at his house. So we'll see. And we're going to be doing the social distancing thing. So we all safe. We'll see how it goes. So we were talking, Tony, we had a quote we were vamping on or vibing on. If you want to chime in, let me know. The quote was this. I'm going to have to read it because I never remember. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. That's Winston Churchill. Yeah, that's Winston Churchill. So we were talking about how we can apply it to our business. So if you care to jump in and give us your thoughts, feel free.
Absolutely. When you feel you're successful, the minute you let up, you stop being successful.
Yep.
Okay, that's what we said. That's exactly what we said. Yeah. Yep. It's so true. We can't rest on our laurels. So now let's take that and apply it to our own business. When you think about that statement, what's one thing you can do to ensure that you will not fail, or that you will be successful, or that you will continue in the next few weeks?
Constantly improving.
Okay. The search for improvement. I like that. Anybody else?
I have to agree. Just reinvent, make what you're doing better.
Okay.
I agree as well. In my field, a lot of DJs don't do this. I like to do a lot of homework per se. Study the newest gear in the market, see what's being played. A lot of people dislike listening to the radio. I listen to the radio and say, hey, what's going on? What's new? What's going on this website? I sit in other Zoom parties. I'm not too big to sit as a humble guest and hope people reacted to this. All that is just doing homework to see how I can improve my brand. And
research
make
and
the people,
Yeah, market research.
make people happy and adapt it to my set. And when I present my business to the world, and when it's my turn to play, and that helps me a lot. I don't take it as just, hey, I'm just playing around. I'm doing it as a hobby. I take it serious. How can I make people happy? How can I make clients happy? And how can I get more clients from it?
Nice. So we've got keep trying to improve, and Monty went a little bit more deep. He said, do some market research. And you know what that is to me? When I hear what you're saying, it's like learning your target market, learning your ideal client, and how to appeal to them. That's going to make you more effective, right? As you continue to grow. Maria, you had a thought, or you were just you?
No, the thing that popped into my head was, and it is important to learn and understand real data or facts or numbers. Obviously that's different than, the latest in music that Monty's listening to, but as it applies to me, I was just looking at the latest data because I'm with somebody last night and they're saying that, the market's going to crash and, prices are going to drop and like all this doomsday stuff. And it's important for me to understand all the numbers so that I can say, no, despite forbearance, the majority, 42% of the homes in this country are owned free and clear. The majority of people have more than a in their home. Despite forbearance, there's not going to be a crash because the equity level is so high that it's not going to impact what's happening in our inventory shortage. So I need to have command of the facts so that I can be confident in what I'm bringing to a client. Just like, Monty being up on the latest music so that you can offer that, be knowledgeable and offer that to a client.
I love that.
That's what I was thinking of.
You always impress me. Like you are so deep with your thought process. I'm serious. Whenever you are, and you do research, and every time that's why I love talking to you. I learn every time I talk to you because you have something deep. You're not surface level. Some people are surface level.
But the truth of that is, Mark, when you say stuff to me like, oh, I know this market's going to crash. I just want to punch you in the face. So I can't do that. That's just, I'm not allowed to do that. So I need to back up what I'm feeling with actual facts so that I can treat that statement the way it needs to be treated instead of just.
Be careful what you say around Maria.
Yeah. Feisty,
So when someone does say something like that, is it the people who you hear saying it, are they in the real estate industry?
No. So they mostly, I actually, in the beginning of this pandemic, I had this mortgage guy call me, and he started with the, what are you getting yourself ready for with all the foreclosures we know are coming down the pike? I go, you are completely wrong. And I sent him, data. I said, I don't agree with you at all, and I really think you need to do some homework.
Well, see, they are part of the real estate industry. So I would have to come back and say, well, if that is the case, what's your plan? Maybe you can help me. Give them something to think about.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing we're talking about right here, right? The courage to continue. That's exactly what it is. And that's what I was thinking when it comes to applying to my business, right? How I'm going to make sure that I am going to keep moving forward is to continue to arm myself with the knowledge I need to be successful, and to be very specific about what I arm myself with. I can read books on all kinds of things that are not really related or somewhat related to my business. That's cute. That's head knowledge, but I need to focus on what I need to do to get my business moving forward. And I think that's what I love about Maria. And that's the thought process that you have, Colette, that I like. It's very specific. You're in the mortgage industry, you're a mortgage broker, and you're crying that everything is going to fail. Well, how do you prepare yourself even for the inevitable? Right. I started this business almost 20 years ago in the tax business. I think I told the story just a little bit, maybe last week. And I was talking to a guy, and I was trying to figure out if I should start. And he said, the tax business is easy. You can make $100,000 easy. He said, you open up a shop, you charge $100 for a 1040 EZ, you get 1,000 people, it's $100,000. I do it every year. Based on what he said, I was like, oh, shoot. I never thought about it like that. I'm going to open up my business. Well, guess what happened to the 1040 EZ game? It's free on TurboTax.
I was just going to say TurboTax.
Right. So, and it was soon after I opened up my business. Not that I ever even got to that level, but I'm doing these returns. I'm knocking out 1040 EZs. I'm getting comfortable. Maybe I did a 1040A. Sometimes I did a Schedule A. I'm all excited. I'm getting better and better. And then I'm looking at these commercials every January, TurboTax, H&R Block, Liberty, and it's like, we can do your return for free. I remember the first 5 years I was sitting in my house like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I need to figure something out or I'm going to be out of business, And so you have to arm yourself.
What happened to the guy? Didn't you go back to the guy?
I have no idea. If I went over there, I might have punched him in the face like Maria said. You too. No, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. I will tell you this, though, that I know a lot of tax preparers who, a lot of older ones, because they're not adaptable, they shut it down. They get tired. This technology, I was speaking with a CPA that I'm thinking about hiring to do some work for me. And I said, let's have a meeting. He said, okay, I can come to your office. And I said, we're doing Zoom. He's like, that's ridiculous. No, adaptability, my friend, try it. So he actually joined me in a Zoom meeting, shared my screen with him, right? Showed him some of the work I'm doing, showed him some Excel documents I'm working on. And he was like, this is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a couple years now. You don't adapt.
You die.
You die. Yeah. You'll drown and die. You see how that works?
It's the same thing, as I was working on some different campaigns that I was going to post this week. And I said, I thought about something a conversation I had with someone, and I was wondering how some of, a lot of the other people who are in the insurance industry now are doing, especially the ones who stick to those old school ways of doing things. I have a friend right now who, they're still not open to getting on Zoom. And I'm like, well, how are you going to get your clients? How are you going to speak to them? So, you know, they're going to have to find something to do. Either you're going to spend a whole bunch of money hiring someone to do certain things for you because everything is automated, you know, because even putting together my social media stuff, it's got to be automated. You got to, you know, you have to have a good online appearance and things like that, or else, you know, so you got to get online. You have to get online, and there's certain things you have to do with technology. So if you don't adapt, that's it.
Yeah. And not just adapting with technology, right? But it might be the way we handle our business. It might be the way we deal with clients, you know. It might be the rules we have in place to protect ourselves. One of the mistakes I made in business, I gave this gentleman, can I be honest? Is that all right? He was a real estate agent. I gave him some tax advice that he implemented. And we saved him tens of thousands of dollars. The only problem was that in New Jersey, it wasn't exactly appropriate because of the real estate rules for your licensure. And I didn't know. I learned these tax techniques from the tax coaching programs that I go to. And no one ever said, check your state because every state has different licensure requirements. So he came back to me and he had a fit. He was like, you know, this is illegal, this and that. And I want my money. I want all the money I ever paid you back. And I was like shocked. So I did the research and I called whatever your licensure division is. And I asked them, is this illegal? And she told me it's not illegal from like a civil law. It just goes against licensure requirements, you know? And so from that point of view, you shouldn't do it. Not illegal. Okay. So I went back to him and I gave him back his money because I gave him the advice. Hey, right is right to me. But I told him, don't open your mouth telling people I told you something illegal. You didn't check your licensure requirements. So now I know why every book that you read has this thing that says, check to make sure that your specific licensure, right, is acceptable. I didn't realize that when I gave him this advice. By the way, I gave him that advice like 8 years ago, but I still didn't realize it, right? I learned the tax law. It's legal from tax law, but for real estate licensure in New Jersey, it's not appropriate. However, if you were a New York realtor, it might have been okay. So I learned that. So when I give advice, the one thing I say is if you have licensure requirements, just make sure that it works with your license. That's how you learn, right? The failure wasn't fatal. Gave him back his money. I just wanted to end on a good note. I think that's important, you know, but at the same time, you know, you live and you learn. That's part of the game. So that's one thing that I think about as far as adaptability, how to adapt to continue to protect yourself from whatever you're learning or to continue to grow. John, where are you at? Are you getting my prime rib? Oh, that's already been delivered.
No, it's been delivered.
That's been delivered and it's been seasoned. Keep talking, your piece is getting smaller.
Okay. Wow, you heard that, right? Everybody heard that. Everyone heard that.
I didn't hear anything. Hey, Jonathan, I'm gonna go ahead and just send you my my address. You can send it.
I got you. Okay. I got a
Colette,
vacuum machine, so I'll vacuum pack your food.
Colette, I can remove people from this meeting. I'm just saying. Just so you know, for the record, you know.
Well, let me just put my address in first before you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, last week, I think we're moving pretty well with time, but last week we had a few people on and we had some goals, right? And of course, this meeting, Monty, just so you know, when we get together, we try to lay out a goal for the upcoming week because we always want to keep moving our business forward, right? And so this kind of concept that we're trying to do here is we kind of just, you're not required to, but if you have a goal that you want to say, hey, I want to do this to move my business forward, you tell the group. And then next week we see if we make it. If you fail in your goal miserably, then you fail miserably. That's life. Wait till you hear my goal for last week. So if you want to jump in with a goal, feel free. But we usually go around the room. And is that all right? Is this a good time, guys?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Jonathan, I have this thing dated. You had a goal, I hope I did this right, of second team of subcontractors. Is that right?
Yeah. Just to scale up in my capabilities. So I'm happy to report that with the exception of my particular trade, I have 2 to 3 people per trade. So now it sets up nicely to now look to scale up in the amount of projects that I do. So instead of doing one install and maybe work on one house over 3 months, now I'm kind of geared up to work on multiple houses at the same time.
Very cool. I mean, and that's what, to me, now you sound like a real GC because you can be running multiple jobs. Is that the concept?
Mm-hmm. With the exception of my particular trade, because I just don't find anybody who's as reliable as me to run ductwork. But I'm working on it. I'm gonna find an HVAC guy. I'm working.
Okay, cool. Physician, heal thyself. To me, it's always hardest to find the person to do what you do because you have a special standard, right?
Yes.
You know, like if you're not into carpentry, I know you do a little bit of carpentry, but if you're not a professional carpenter, you'll accept this guy and you'll, okay, fine. But ductwork, he probably has to create the Mona Lisa of ductwork every time because that's what you kind of want to do, and it might make it a little bit harder, you know. So, but it will happen because you realize that you have to grow in that regard. So then, what's your goal for next week?
The goal for next week is to hopefully start a new home remodeling project. But
this is what happens when you're in a mobile office.
It's to find an agent. That's kind of my whole focus now. Yeah. Can you hear me?
You're coming in and out.
Uh-oh.
In and out.
Oh, no. Yeah, there's a storm coming in. I got to find an HVAC guy.
Okay. So you want to find your second HVAC guy.
Yeah.
And you said home remodel, perhaps getting a new one started.
Yes, this week.
That's ambitious.
Yep.
The home remodel part is ambitious, but I get it. Cool. Maria, I'm looking at my notes and I don't know what I wrote.
I think it's for me to get back on track with the level of prospecting, you know, the number of phone calls I was supposed to be making.
Right.
And with the exception of today, I'm pretty on target this week.
Nice.
First time in a few weeks, you know. So,
that's what it's about.
Tony, what do you do?
Me, I do real estate.
Where are you?
I'm in Better Homes and Gardens in Fort Lee.
Fort Lee, yeah. So I was just trying to place you because it was a few weeks back that we talked. But I think I'm guilty, like a lot of people. I was talking to a professional organizer earlier this week, and she said one of the things that she's getting hit with during this whole time is people are like, I'm home, I have a lot of time on my hands, and I'm not getting to anything. Like I've got projects I can do all around me, and I'm just not doing any of it. How do you get yourself motivated? And I think motivation's been a consistent challenge for me. But last week's been pretty good. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's big time.
Nice.
That's big time. So what's your goal for the upcoming week?
I don't know.
Look at your success and say, I've made it.
No, I mean, I have to maintain that. So I guess getting a second week, maintaining it, and there's,
I like it.
There's too many little things, not little, but they're chores that take a couple hours a piece. I got too many of them on my to-do list and I feel overwhelmed. I need to knock them off.
I understand that. Yeah.
My to-do list. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I mean, honestly, because I'm the same way. It's like there's so many little things to do and it gets crazy. So literally, and I have all this paper around me. I take up one sheet of paper at one point in the morning usually and just start writing like, I'm going to do this today. And I just cross those things off. And if it's part of the big plan, I think that I've got success going as far as taking those tasks one by one. So that's cool. I like that. And it's a good goal. And hey, you know what? We're going to be coming off of a holiday weekend. So at least for me, I don't care what it is. When I drive down to Philly and I come back, the next day I got things I'm going to be taking care of. By Monday, I'm just like, woo, I want to relax. So Well, that I like the goal. Nothing too crazy. All right. Colette.
Yeah.
You were supposed to. I'm looking here at my notes. They're just too sloppy. Calls with Colette. Update with calls. Colette. Last time you were supposed to get to 50. You did 30 something, correct?
Right. Did about 30.
And so, how was your last week?
This week I didn't do as many.
Okay.
I did about. It was either 13 or 15 that I did.
Okay. So, what did you do instead?
Outside of the rest of the calls?
Yeah.
Working on this Facebook ad that I'm trying to do. And then I realized that I had to create a Facebook pixel. And I had to figure that out and then put it in my website so that I can track every time someone hits my website or hits something on the ads on Facebook. And so that's what I had been working on. And then I'm doing the ad and I'm having some difficulties. So I'm spending time trying to fix that.
So can I ask you a question? I mean, this is a little bit of a coaching session, if that's okay. I get that you're doing the Facebook ad and the pixel and the website, but would you have made more money calling more people instead of doing that?
Of course. But once the problem comes up, I have to fix it.
I get you. So here's a tip or suggestion, just a suggestion. Take it, throw it in the garbage. Prioritize. Do all the calls first and then do the pixel thing. Meet your minimum goal first, because I do the same thing. We get sidetracked with what we like, what we get comfortable with. Not the hard part. For me, cold calling bites. I don't ever want to cold call. And if I told you guys I'm going to do 10 cold calls, I bet you by the end of next week, you'd be like, did you do your 10 cold calls? I'd be like, no, but guess what? I redesigned my website, changed the oil on my car, bought a new house. But if you know, for you specifically, that cold calling is critical to you growing your business right now, do it first. And then do the other thing. Is that all right?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm always open to constructive criticism.
Good.
Just don't come criticize me and then don't have a suggestion.
Oh, okay. All right. I hear that, and I'm all for that. Cool. Tony, you weren't with us last week, but I did write down what you said last time. You said you were going to reach out to, did I have 30 previous customers?
Right.
How'd it go? You had 2 weeks.
I failed miserably.
Okay.
I made about 8 phone calls, but actually no, 6 phone calls. But the good thing is that I focused on something else, which is something I'm working on, is focus. And I grew my crypto group by 8 people. So
nice.
In one way it was good, and the other way I really need to learn. You know what? I realized why I didn't make those calls. Is because I didn't set up a specific time, like from 10 to 11, to make phone calls. And if I don't do that, phone calls don't get made.
Right.
I'm glad you said that.
Somebody said to me, and they quoted somebody else, they didn't know who it was, is book your calendar or somebody else will fill it up for you.
That is true. I'm glad you said that. And that's a good point. I have found that to be very, very effective. If there's a task I keep putting off, I make it a calendar appointment, and you get that reminder, and you go, "Oh goodness, but that's how I get things done." So putting it on the calendar is going to be critical to your success in that regard. Cool. So you did 6 out of 30 calls, but you grew your group, so you still accomplished a good goal. Do you have one for the upcoming week?
I'm going to stick to that 30. Another 30. I'm not counting the 6 I did.
Okay, so a new set of 30 calls. I like that. I'm writing as I go. So last week, I'm going to tell you what my goal was. It was to clear my desk of tax returns.
And?
Failed miserably.
We knew you failed last week.
Oh, it's been so hard. I did get a few done. But again, the ones that were really challenging, I put off. And
Dude,
still on my
don't
phone.
you have just to the 15th?
Yes. So I'm going to tell you, can I confess in front of you? Can I confess in front of everybody? I want to hire a CPA and to do some of the work that I don't want to do. And last week, I put off all the stink tax returns that I didn't want to do so that I can hire this guy. I had an appointment set up. So we get together on Tuesday. It's the same guy with Zoom and everything. He had some other accounting problems, not accounting problems, he's a CPA, but he had some technical QuickBooks problems. So he always speaks to me. We chat about that because I'm good with QuickBooks. And so I walked through that with him. And then then he said, okay, so now let's talk about how we're going to work together. And he hammed and he hawed and he hammed and he hawed, and because he wants to come into the office, and I thought he was going to do it remote. So I just kind of said, let's get together next week. So I didn't do the tax returns, trying to get around getting him to do it. And we still don't have anything ironed out. So that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. And on top of that, all this week, clients are calling me, hey, I know I need to get my taxes done. So the list has actually gotten bigger. It's gotten bigger.
It's going to keep getting bigger.
Yeah, I actually had to call Claudia for a pep talk. I said, I don't want to do it, Claudia. Claudia is my assistant. And she was like, you got to do it, Mark. You got it. You cannot let these people down. She gave me a pep talk. And I was like, okay, I can do it. And I knocked out a couple of them. I'm feeling good. So next week, yes, anybody who is on my calendar for taxes will be done by me or this accountant. That's the goal. I only have 2 weeks. So it'll be good. It just means stopping other things to focus, to prioritize. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So that's my goal. Nice. Clean my desk of taxes. All right. I saved you for last month, just in case you didn't want to say, or if you do.
I had a July 15th goal, but I'm going to,
I like it.
Sitting here today makes me want to push it up a little. And I had a few conversations earlier. It's to launch my website.
Nice. So
have it launched by the 15th. I've been doing everything on my own, but I've been getting sound counsel onto using third-party freelancers where I can just pay them. What's that? Fiverr and Upwork. I just find some cool people on there to do it for me, and that will save me the time and energy. And I think that's probably the route I'll go. So that's the goal. Look out for the website. Hopefully, I'm gonna push it up. Let's say next Friday.
Okay.
Let's go for that. 15th was, but let's try it.
What's the name of the company, Monty?
Spy Town Productions, just the DBA. My stage or DJ name is DJ Spy. The website will be djspy.net. I already secured the domain name, but it's
Beautiful.
A one-stop shop for any up-and-coming events I want to promote. I'll promote for other DJs, wedding rates, graduation. You could do all your inquiries and all that on that website instead of like DMing me and going to the social media pages. And I'll just put it on all social media platforms just to direct you to the website. It's no, hey, open Instagram, but I sent you a message on Facebook. One-stop shop for everything. To summarize it. Yeah.
Nice,
hey, Mark.
Nice. Yes, sir.
Something that I discuss with my other partners in the crypto group is having a launch party. When somebody launches a business, you know how people do a baby showers?
Yes.
We can do a launch party for somebody who's launching their business and make a big deal about it, invite our friends and do things like that.
You know,
Nice.
I love the idea of launch parties. I've not participated in one, although I keep thinking that that's like a real powerful thing. Getting the coordination from everybody to make it pop, I think would be the challenge, but that's awesome. Like, probably Mont will have no problem. He probably knows 18 billion people from DJing, because he's always out amongst the people. But that's a brilliant idea.
With that launch party, will there be a registry?
A registry? This ain't no baby shower, girl.
No, but he said like a baby shower, right?
Without gifts for.
Right. So maybe it's not gifts, but maybe monetary contributions. You know, he needs to get that marketing done.
No, that's bootleg, sister. Usually when a business does a launch party, they're coming out of pocket, right? And if I do a grand opening to check out my office,
no,
which is not a grand opening.
He said it was,
I got the money coming in.
It was like a baby shower.
Yeah. I think he means getting everybody together to celebrate the success.
Celebrate.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that idea has applicability like all over the place. You could have, Jonathan could have a launch party when he finishes an addition bathroom or whatever the heck it is. You could have when you're, seriously, you could have a launch party. I mean, Monty, obviously, hey, we're having a launch party for my new site. You know, you could have a launch party for a new listing. Like, hey, I mean, there's a million applications for this idea.
I agree. So here's the question then, and now we're running up on an hour. How in the world do we make an effective launch party? Who can we learn from?
I think we can learn from Monty.
Facebook Live.
I know. I mean, how to do it the right way. Like, you know, Tony makes it right. He's like, but look, if I have a launch party tomorrow, right, I'm going to tell you, I'm rebranding the business. Just so you guys know, I have a DBA. It's called Next Level Business Advisors. I have my website that I'm having built right now. And now I got to get the new domain, but I have like business strategies and what have you. Great. Now, how do I launch that? There's got to be a process. Somebody has to know how to do a good launch party.
Mailing list.
A mailing list. How do you get them? How do you get
the emailing list, clientele in social media? My personal opinion, you find those people who are in search for business coaches, business innovations. I wouldn't say it's not hard to find. You can find them on Instagram. We can talk about it.
See, he's like Instagram. He's doing the
Instagram
Instagram thing.
Yeah, because you can find your demographics.
You find a demographic. You see them under those posts under like, hey, I'm thinking about launching my business. Hey, I need a coach. Hey, I'm gonna tell you the only thing.
Everything needs process, and I'll tell you what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're saying. I see people all the time. They pop something up on the internet, on Facebook. I'm doing a party. That's not a process.
No.
Right? The process is find the people, do this 3 weeks before you launch. That's the other thing people do. Hey, I got a launch party tomorrow. Well, too bad. It's like having a baby shower and sending out the invites on the 15th that you have in the shower on the 16th. Well, guess what? So that's what I mean by having a proper launch party.
Oh,
you know, Mont, if you're going to do a launch party for your website, July 15th,
the right clientele,
the right time to start announcing it, building the buzz, right?
Yeah.
When you want to see a movie,
the buzz.
You got to build the buzz for the party. There's a process that I don't have, and I would love for us to get a process in place, a launch party process. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. I'm looking at all these faces going,
Homework.
Yeah, that might, and you know what? That piece of homework is valuable for businesses if you can get it right. Like you said, every time you sell a house, if Maria has a process, because I always think about scalability, right? If there's a process, she can then go to somebody and say, hey, whenever I have a house, here's my checklist, and she doesn't have to actually do it and scramble to make it happen. You know, if a new business is launching, here's the process. You don't have scalability allows you to say, here's the system. I don't have to do it. I can give it to someone else to do it and have the party be successful. That's why I always think about process. You know,
I agree with that.
I did a launch, for instance, when I started my podcast, I kind of did a launch party. Weeks in advance, I started talking about it. I had the system in place. I have a couple people working with me. We were on Facebook. We were on these places posting these things. It was great. I don't know if it really made much of a difference, but it mattered. You know, I did it. But there's not a system. So if I want to do something new, like my website name, now I got to say, okay, well, how am I going to do it? So there's got to be a process, and we have to record the process, chronicle the process. That's what I'm thinking. That's just the way my brain works. And then if we can create that, then we can apply it to so many different things. Tony and Maria, I think you hit something powerful for the day. And I think it's powerful because for whatever we do for our business, if we can figure out how to generate that buzz and get the word out, we can grow in a lot of different ways. Clearly, when you're selling a house, right? But Jonathan, when you remodel a house, right? Well, you ain't got no problem because people run into you for parties, But me, when I finalize my rebranding, Colette, when you get a new license in a new state.
I thought about that. I was going to introduce the New Jersey licensing. I got sidetracked by some other things. That's all right. I can still do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can also do a launch party after the fact, right?
Right.
But we should
Sure.
figure out the process. We should figure out. Well, I keep saying we, like we're the Wonder Twins, but like we're the Wonder Twins. But yeah, that would be a good thing to do, man. And we can apply it to our businesses. That might be a group goal. I don't know how to figure that part out.
I'll do some research and bring some information for next meeting.
I'm about to say next week I'm going to do the same thing. Let's next week. One of my goals is to come up with some ideas for how to implement the structure of a launch party.
Yep.
All right.
I like it. And then what we'll do is we'll use Monty's website as a test dummy, and we'll make him the biggest DJ on the East Coast. Forget about Khaled. And another one. And you saw that commercial? And another one. Oh, sorry. All right, I digress. All right, guys. We're at the hour mark. Does anybody have anything else we want to add? Any questions, any comments, any conclusions, any problems?
I want to wish everybody a happy 4th.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Mr. Adams, on your smoked prime rib.
I'm excited. You may see some Instagram posts.
All right.
I'm excited too.
I'll settle for that.
I'm excited too.
Y'all
Very
be safe,
excited.
everyone.
All right.
Take care.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Good having you, bro.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
That was fun.
Oh, glad you enjoyed it, man.